The voicemail stayed on my phone like a loaded weapon. I didn't delete it. I didn't replay it again either. I just let it sit there, knowing it had already changed everything. That night I drove the long way home through the Blue Ridge Mountains, the narrow road curling like a ribbon through trees stripped bare by autumn. The cabin lights appeared in the distance, warm and steady, just as they always had. Laura used to say the house looked like it was waiting for us, like it knew when we were coming home. That night, for the first time since she died, I wondered if it was warning me instead. Inside, the cabin smelled like pine and wood smoke. I hung my jacket by the door, poured myself a glass of bourbon, and sat in Laura's old chair by the fireplace. My hands shook as I unlocked my phone and listened to the voicemail one more time. Mark's voice was calm, calculated. There was no hesitation in it, no doubt. He wasn't speculating, he was planning. And the worst part wasn't that my son-in-law was plotting to take my property, it was that my daughter was part of it. He'd said, once he signs, not if, when. I thought back to the first winter after Laura died. Emily had cried in my arms at the funeral, promised she'd never let me be alone. At the time, I believed her. When she and Mark suggested I stop driving long distances, I thought it was concern. When they insisted on managing my bills to reduce stress, I felt grateful. Grief makes you trust people you shouldn't. It makes you mistake supervision for love. The next morning, I woke before sunrise and walked the perimeter of the property, just like Laura and I used to. Frost clung to the grass, crunching under my boots. The creek behind the cabin murmured softly. Everything was the same. I was the same. Strong legs, clear head, steady breath. Whatever picture Mark had painted of me, it wasn't real. And that realization sparked something in me I hadn't felt since Laura got sick. Anger mixed with clarity. That's when I remembered the safety deposit box. Laura had insisted on opening it months before she passed. I'd thought it was just practical. She'd smiled while signing the papers, squeezed my hand, and said, just in case life gets messy. At the bank, the clerk handed me the small metal box without ceremony. Inside, beneath old documents and photographs, was the envelope. My name, her handwriting. I sat there in the private room and read her words slowly, my throat tightening with every line. She hadn't accused Emily. She hadn't named anyone. But she had warned me about vulnerability, about how grief invites predators, sometimes wearing familiar faces. Laura knew me. She knew I'd rather sacrifice myself than fight my own family. She also knew that one day I might need permission to choose myself. Daniel Harper's office overlooked a busy downtown street, ordinary and unremarkable. The work he did there was anything but. As I told him everything, the voicemail, the pressure, the subtle manipulation, he nodded, taking notes. They're laying groundwork, he said finally. Medical proxy, power of attorney. Once those are in place, your autonomy disappears quietly, legally. He didn't sugarcoat it. I appreciated that. The process took weeks. Every signature felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. We locked down the cabin. My finances, my future. I went to doctors I didn't need just to prove I didn't need them. Passed memory tests, physical exams, cognitive screenings. One doctor looked at me with pity and said, "Usually families ask for this." I answered honestly, "Sometimes families are the threat." Emily noticed the change. She started calling more often, dropping by unannounced, asking pointed questions. "Are you sure you didn't forget your pills today? Dad, you already told me that story." Mark began keeping notes on his phone when I spoke, pretending it was harmless. I let them think it was working, let them believe I was slipping. Sometimes the safest move is letting people underestimate you. The confrontation happened on a Sunday afternoon. Sunlight streaming through the windows Laura had insisted be placed just right. When I played the voicemail, the room changed. Emily's confidence collapsed instantly. Mark's didn't. He went straight to anger. That told me everything. When people are caught, their first reaction reveals who they really are. Emily cried, said she was afraid of losing me, said she didn't know how else to help. Maybe part of that was true. Fear can twist people into doing unforgivable things, but fear doesn't excuse them. Love doesn't plan your disappearance. After they left, the cabin felt quiet in a new way, not lonely, clean, like air after a storm. Winter came hard that year. Snow piled high on the porch rails. I shoveled, chopped wood, cooked for myself. Every act felt like defiance. Every morning I woke up free. Emily tried calling once, left a voicemail of her own. I never listened. Some truths don't need symmetry. Spring returned slowly. Wildflowers bloomed along the trails Laura and I used to hike. I took her ashes to our favorite overlook and sat there until sunset. You were right, I said aloud, about all of it. The mountains didn't answer, but they didn't need to. Now my days are full, not busy, full. I volunteer, I travel, I write, I live deliberately. The cabin still stands, solid and patient, holding decades of memories that belong to me alone now. My daughter chose money over trust. I chose survival over silence. Some people think growing old means giving things up. They're wrong. Sometimes it means finally taking them back.